Welcome to AMAI with Chris and Justin, Friday, February 2nd. And now we are taking a look at a site that I pass over to Chris. Normally, he passes links over to me. I look at it, I check it out, and you guys see the reaction live here on this show. This morning, something a little bit different. I stumbled across this one yesterday and passed it on to Chris. And we're going to have Chris take a look at this one. This is Bland.AI.
Build, test, and scale AI phone agents. This scares the ever-living piss out of me because I already get too much spam. I could put my stuff in here and take this call live, except my phone is actually my camera. So I will not be doing that. So doing cold calls and surveys, inbound sales, and customer support. That again, this absolutely scares the living piss out of me.
10 lines of code. Look at that.
So off.
This is like Twilio for phone agents.
A prompt of up to 24,000 characters that instructs your phone agents on what to do.
The tools, check it out. It can have tools. So imagine this. You have a phone agent that is hooked up to your API for your help desk or for all of your sales documentation. It can go grab information. It could go grab account details in real time, right? Like you hook it up to your accounting system, you hook it up to your CRM, you hook it up to all of these things as tools. It's now just a person.
Live call transfers.
Wow. Like seamless escalation paths. Stop. Live context, human-like voices. So we'll have to see how those sound, obviously.
Yes.
This is a big deal, right? This is similar to we looked at another one a few weeks ago that also did kind of these kind of agents.
Just let me just stop for a second. How smart, and by the way, apparently that's my phone number, everybody, so please don't call me. How smart is this form? It's like, hey, you want to hear what it sounds like? Go ahead and put in your info in, and this is their lead capture.
Yeah.
Oh
yes, it is also their lead capture. So brilliant.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. Like,
so brilliant.
All right, so that's just a form, which is great. I love simple sites like this. Generally, how do I listen to a phone call without giving them my info?
That's a good question. Is there not a demo down there of the
No, I mean I think they really want you to give them your contact info.
Yeah, you're right. Yep. Which is a little shitty, guys. Like, I mean, we want to see how this actually sounds, right? Like, give us a demo of a call so we can be impressed. It doesn't cost anything extra. I mean, realistically, to like just drop a little demo.
All right, so 12 cents a minute. It only works within the U.S. Okay, but it does speak French, German, and Spanish.
That's cool. Well, it says for any language, from French to German, Spanish, etc. It probably can speak in any language.
So inbound calling is actually really interesting, right? Because I think Justin already alluded to this, but you could absolutely have your tier 1 support be replaced by this.
Yep.
Feed it to your basic scripts, feed it your API access to your knowledge base, and then escalate to a human after a certain point.
Yep. So like, here's the thing, right? Like a couple things that I think about this, about like Bland.AI and what I think this is going to mean for the world. Tools like this is, there's your phone number again.
I know. I was going to, but then like, I don't think you guys will be able to hear it if it's on my phone anyway.
Yeah. I think so, unfortunately. So here's the thing that I think is really interesting about this, right? Couple things. And I think there's near term and far term here, maybe, because the two things I'm about to say are kind of contradict each other in a way. But one is I think that you are looking at the start of the death of call centers, right? Like it will be a thing. I mean, in who knows how many years, 5 years, 10 years, however long it takes. it will be a thing where it's like this. Wait, people used to sit in a room and answer phone calls and like make phone calls, like the stuff that computers do now. People like used to just sit in big rooms of hundreds of people with headsets and just answer phones all day. That seems insane. That's the conversation that's going to be had in a decade, right? So call centers, which by the way, y'all, call centers are a massive business. And let me tell you the other thing about call centers, okay? And this is important because I think this speaks to what's going to happen from a talent and workforce management standpoint. Call centers are a place where a lot of folks who don't have a degree, who don't have education, are able to go work and start working, right? And that's actually an entry path in for a lot of people to start a career when they're young, is at a call center. My first real job was at a call center, at State Farm, and so these places, while they fulfill like a business need, they also like are this interesting like societal entry point into work for a lot of people because there are so many call centers everywhere. I mean, we live in Tampa. Tampa's kind of like one of the call center like I don't know, hubs, right? At least in the US or whatever. We have a ton of call centers here. If all those go away, really starts to remove some opportunities. And it really starts to restructure a lot about how companies work and provide support, sales, and that kind of thing. The other thing that it makes me think about, which is a little bit contradictory to what I was just saying, is I think that long term, the question will be is, does this kill the telephone? Because we already deal with a lot of spam. I would say my phone probably rings 10 to 12 times a day. And one of those calls is a real call and the rest are spam calls. If this increases that frequency by tenfold because it's easy and efficient, then the signal noise ratio gets to a point where the phone becomes useless. So how do you control for that? And the answer is not regulation, because it's not going to keep up. It's not fast enough.
No.
Um,
I'll go. You mentioned call centers, right? And so it actually made me think of the movie The Greatest Showman. And yes, this is a really weird tie-in, but there's the scene where Hugh Jackman is still working as like in the big building with thousands of people on these desks in this like warehouse space, manually doing things. And I'm like, okay, like that's the equivalent of cells in a spreadsheet. And I couldn't, that's the weirdest analogy, but I looked at this and I'm like, here are hundreds of people calculating numbers. Each one of them is just like a single cell in a single spreadsheet, right? Like today, you
right.
don't
Yeah,
have
yeah.
that kind of
Interesting.
building anymore because you don't need
No,
that anymore.
that's a fascinating concept, that like a big building of people sitting in cubicles, each cubicle is a cell in a spreadsheet, just calculating values all day to send it up to the other, like to be combined at the top level. Oh, that's like a fucking sci-fi movie.
it's, it's, I mean, I could actually imagine a really neat like AI generated short where it shows these people like cells, and then underneath the cells there's like people like working all day crunching the numbers.
It's very Matrix-esque.
But it's the same thing for this, right? Like
Yeah.
a lot of jobs got replaced by spreadsheets.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of jobs got spreadsheets are the ultimate software. I know you and I have talked about this before.
Ultimate software.
They're the
It's
ultimate
the
software.
number one competitor to anything that you build.
But this is essentially doing the same thing for a very big portion of communication. And a very big portion of communication is telephone.
Yep.
And it's sales calls, it's actually customer inquiries, it's support. And if this gets good, right? That's the key. If this gets good,
It will get good. There's no if it gets good. I
sorry,
mean,
if the
it's
yeah,
when it
when it
when
gets
it
good,
gets
when
yes,
it gets good, it is really it's going to wipe out another segment.
it
And
will.
yes, we constantly, and we've talked about this. This is like the AI dystopia thing. It's like the society has changed a lot of times. Like it happens.
Mhm.
We used to repair TVs. Now they're not worth repairing. We used to
Mhm.
repair computers. Now generally they're not worth repairing unless you like have something that you forgot to save on the cloud. Generally, like we've shifted this stuff. The difference is the sheer volume of shifts that's going to happen in the next 3 years.
And the speed at which they're going to happen,
Yeah,
right?
it's
Like,
not going to be like, hey, society gently shifts. It's going to be
right.
like,
You know,
oh,
it's interesting too, because this is a fascinating philosophical discussion because I think you're right. I think it's easy to get lulled into a sense of security thinking, well, we've gone through tons of societal changes to your point, and we've always adapted and we've always figured it out, right? And so that's one way that you can think about it. Another, but you can also say, yeah, but it's never happened this fast. But then I wonder, is there actually like a societal cognitive limit for this stuff where actually the limiter on how fast society changes? I don't think so, though. I was going to say that maybe the limiter is actually just society's ability to cognitively process the change, which will kind of keep it from going too fast. But at the end of the day, that's not going to happen. And the reason it's not going to happen is because businesses are going to take advantage of this and they're going to rush on it because this is the gold rush. This is the opportunity to create more margin. And it's going to get forced into society regardless of how quickly we can pick it up cognitively because of the business interests out there.
100% agree. And so anyway, that was Bland.AI.
Bland.AI, guys. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Thank you and have a good day.